Hey everyone, Kyle once again, and welcome back to the next movie review, and also back to another, also reviewing a movie that's anniversary review as well. So, of course, marking this year marks 30 years of the year 1994. So the year 1994 for this film that came out in 1994, 30 years ago. A film that I grew up loving. Me and my brother loved it. And of course, 94, it's one of the movies because it was one of the three movies that was just rose Jim Carrey. It launched his career. There was Dumb and Dumber, there was Ace Ventura, Pet Detective, and then this film I'll be reviewing for the 30th anniversary, and that is of The Mask. So The Mask that came out in 1994, 30 years later, I still love the film. I still love The Mask. You know, for the time, like its creativity, what uses, of what The Mask can do, and I really enjoyed it though, and just Courtly said this is 1994. Is what launched Jim Carrey's career, because like you said, the start of the year first came out was Ace Ventura, and then this year in the summer, came this film, and then later towards the end of the year, then you had Dumb and Dumber. Those three films just really put him on the map. And of course, the next year, 95, when he had it big, when he played the Riddler in Batman Forever, and then 96. The Cable Guy, which I enjoy, Then 97, Liar Liar, and then 98, or was it 99? It was either one. I think it was 98. Yeah, where with the Truman Show, So during those years, Jim Carrey, he was just on top of the world with all these big hits. Although Cable Guy kind of underperforms though, but I still enjoyed it though. But the other films were big hits, but still, he was just on top of the star status of comedies, And then of course during the 2000s when he had Bruce Almighty, and then of course people like the series of unfortunate events though, but I'll get to that one though eventually because that was 2004, so that makes it 20 years. So eventually I have to do a 20-year anniversary on that one, too. So that was 2004. But I'll get into that, though, later. And then, this is the years, and then after this years, in the 2010s, is when he was just declining, Also, another one. Another great one that I enjoy from Jim Carrey. That was of Eternal Sunshine of a Spotless Mind. That's another great one of Jim Carrey's I liked. But like I said, he was just when the 2010s were doing, he was just on the decline, He was just not getting good roles during those years, and then with 2014, Dumb and Dumber 2, which sucked, But then he redeemed himself when he did Sonic the Hedgehog. That just redeemed his career when he was cast as Dr. Robotnik, which originally, when I first knew he was going to be Dr. Robotnik, I was skeptical at first, but when I saw it, I enjoyed it. You know what? Jim Carrey recaptured himself. He recaptured his old self like he did with of the 90s. That old self from the 90s. He recaptured that when he played Dr. Robotnik, And that kind of redeemed his career, And Sonic the Hedgehog was a big hit. Then came the sequel, Sonic 2, which it made more money than the first film, and Jim Carrey knocked it out of the park once again as Dr. Robotnik, And then later, towards this Christmas of this year, Sonic 3, and he's coming back, And I look forward to it, because I enjoyed the first two movies. He was great in both movies, so I look forward to the third film. Which they said that during the time he said he was planning on retiring after after Sonic 2 though. But when he said, I think he said when if the script for a third film was any good, he'll do it though. Obviously, it had to be good enough because he's coming back to play Dr. Robotnik in the third film, so maybe after that, then he'll consider retiring, though. If so, I mean, if you retire on a plane on a good character like Dr. Robotnik, you know. But yeah, but he just him playing Dr. Robotnik, it just rekindled his star status as, you know, because he just captured his former self in the 90s, that the character he played, you know, those characters he played from back then. But I enjoy Jim Carrey, you know. I grew up with Jim Carrey, like I said, from these movies from the 90s, you know, and I enjoyed him in the Sonic movies. But Jim Carrey, I always enjoyed, you know. And him as Stanley Ipkiss, aka The Mask, he was fun in the role, like he was when he started out, you know. And as for not for Jim Carrey, but the rest of the cast, but I'll get to the cast in a second. But the director of the film is directed by Chuck Russell, which I enjoy as a director. You know, I love the '88 remake of The Blob. I enjoy Nightmare on Elm Street Part 3, The Dream Warriors. I enjoy Eraser with Arnold Schwarzenegger. That was a badass action film. Scorpion King, you know, the prequel to The Mummy Returns. Scorpion King. I didn't hate it. I didn't. But it was one of the weaker points of Chuck Russell's movies. But I didn't hate it, though. But let's see, what else? What else did Chuck Russell direct? But I enjoy Eraser. I enjoy this film. I love The Blob. Elm Street Part 3. Bless the Child? Yeah. Bless the Child, I have to rewatch again. Because at first I was thinking of Godsend. That was the one with Robert De Niro. That sucked. He didn't direct that film. I was probably thinking of that movie. But Blessed Child, I was obviously is better than Godsend. But then again, like I said, I have to rewatch that. I have to rewatch that movie again. Blessed Child. But overall, Chuck Russell, I liked, you know, and yeah, he did. He then later, some time ago, like a few or so years ago, he did that. That direct-to-video movie with John Travolta, was it I Am Wrath? That was kind of like a weak point, it is definitely one of his weakest movies, you know. It is. But overall, yeah, I still like Chuck Russell though, as a director, because he has more hits than misses, I would say. And then, like I said, and also it's based on a Dark Horse comic book. Dark Horse Comics is the same where they made the movies of Hellboy. Of course, there was that other movie called Virus from '99 that had Jamie Lee Curtis, Donald Sutherland, and William Baldwin in. Good special effects though, but didn't save the movie though. But I'm saying that was also based on Dark Horse Comics as well. Yeah, but I enjoy the Hellboy 1 and 2, not the reboot, not the 2019 reboot, no. But I like the first two Hellboy movies with Ron Perlman, directed by Guillermo del Toro. But, yeah. So, and then as for the rest of the cast, I mean, like I said, Jim Carrey, like I said. You have Peter Riegert as Lieutenant Calloway. Peter Greene, which, the same year here in '94, we did Pulp Fiction, where he was, the rapist cop named Zeb. You know, if you remember that scene, that was the one with Bruce Willis and Vig Rhames. But then the next year he did Under Siege 2, Dark Territory, one of my all-time personal favorites. And then he didn't really. I don't really. He did over the years. He didn't do much, you know. I know he was like a lame villain in what was Bounty Hunter. It was that comedy film with Gerard Butler and Jennifer Aniston. I know he was in the opening of the first episode of Justified. That Timothy Olyphant, you know, at the start of the episode, sat down, shoots him. But Peter Greene, yeah, as the bad guy named Dorian Tyrell as this gangster. And then you got, of course, this is the film also that was the debut for Cameron Diaz. This was Cameron Diaz. This was her debut role. She was really good in this, of course, as what Jim Carrey would say, smoking. That's what Cameron Diaz was. She was smoking. And then you get to other cast members, Richard Jeni, who plays Stanley's Jim Carrey's friend, Charlie. Which actually I didn't know that he died back in 2007 at the age of 49. Yeah. Yeah, so yeah, if you watch, I remember if you watch The Mask, the character Charlie, who plays Stanley's friend, yeah, I didn't at the time I didn't know he passed away at 2007. He was 49, I guess he shot himself in the head, so he suicided himself. But that's too bad, because I like that. I like that character in this film, Kind of, he's trying to be a friend, trying to help, Stanley, trying to score with women, trying to help him with that. But yeah, but at the time I didn't know he passed away back in 2007. Young, So, as the story goes, it opens up with there's this diver doing some under construction stuff. He sees a box, tries to open it, and this big pipe falls on him, then it opens, and then this mask comes out. The mask. Hence, the mask. And so, Jim Carrey plays as Stanley Ipkiss. He's a guy who works at the bank. He's an accountant, and he's a nice guy, but people kind of walk all over him. He gets these 2 tickets for this one friend. He says, "Oh, so when am I gonna pick you up?" And the girl's like, "Oh, my friend's in town, and she likes to go." But then Stanley goes, because being the nice guy of the age, is like, "You know what? Why don't you just go with your friend?" "Thanks, Stanley. You are such a nice guy." "Yeah, I know." And then he's talking with his buddy Charlie, and then Cameron Diaz, and like I said, her first appearance on screen, just with the music by Randy Edelman, just showing how sexy she looks, with the music going, and just both of that Stanley and Charlie are just looking at her, staring at her. Yep, that's the way to introduce to Cameron Diaz, looking all sexy looking, but like I said, all smoking looking. But then she's in this, but she's the girlfriend of the leader of this gang. Well, not because of Dorian Tyrell, Peter Greene, but he's not the leader though, because there's a hired gang member called by the name of Nico, who runs everything, So. And then, Stanley gets invited to this club called Coco Bongo. He tries to get a car. Of course, he gets scanned by these 2 guys saying, "Oh, you have so many problems," which actually says, "Oh, I just want an oil change." They were scamming him, so they give him this shitty car. He gets tossed out of his ass in front of the club. And when he tries to drive back, the whole car just falls apart on him. And then he sees something in the river. We thought it was a person, but it's actually just nothing. And he finds the mask. So then he goes back to his apartment with his dog Milo, and they turn on the TV. There was this program where Ben Stein, Bueller. You recognize this guy. He's been in small cameos in other films too, Ben Stein. I mean, he's talking about this this book, you know, that's right, Wendy, we all wear masks. And so, Jim Carrey does the thing. He's like, that's right, Wendy, we all wear masks. Oh, which by the way, which I have this right here. That's right, Wendy, we all wear masks, metaphorically speaking. Yeah, if you're wondering, yeah, this is a replica of the actual mask. If you see, this is not mine though, but this is my brother's. He got this. Yeah, it's actually an exact duplicate of the actual mask, which I thought was pretty cool, you know. Yeah. I want to say, yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, we have an actual replica of the actual mask. So, yeah. So, yep, then of course when he tries it on, and the whole special effects of him twirling around when he becomes that, and the whole effects. I mean, the time in '94, that was kind of like, you know, the wackiness of the effects. You know, similar to this how cartoonish the character is when he becomes the mask. You know, and of course when we first see him, he's like smoking. It is party time. PARTY. Why? Because I gotta. The whole thing with the watch, and then the landlady comes out, starts shooting him. Of course, when she screams, the eyes and the tongue pop out. Ah! So, and then he jumps out the window, and he gets flattened, and he pills was like, "Look, Ma, I'm roadkill." Ha ha ha. Or when the car's honking at him, he puts his little horn, but it turns out when he squeezes it screams really loud. Pulls all the windows out and the guy's hair all. Pfft. And then these punks, street punks, come around, and so tries to put like balloon animals, and he turns those into a Tommy gun. And he gets back at those guys that screwed him over. Those mechanics that screwed him over. Basically, it's like two huge mufflers right up their asses. And then you get Peter Riegert as Lieutenant Calloway, ask him some questions. What happened last night? Then we get, you know, with the door internal Peter Greene with his boss, you know, Nico. With the golf club, he puts on the ground, puts like a tee and the golf ball in his mouth, and he swings it. And then the next night, I'm wondering after if a girl like Cameron Diaz can go be with Stanley, a guy like Stanley, right? So he finds the mask. First, there's no way, but then he couldn't resist, so he puts it on. Which we get this iconic outfit right here, which this is outfit we use in the later when they made a cartoon show, right? Yeah, they made if anyone remembers, they didn't make this like they didn't make a cartoon of the mask when he wears this classic outfit. Just like how they made a cartoon show of Ace Ventura: Pet Detective. So, but especially when it is still good effects, you know, when with the whole Greene when he has the mask on, it's still pretty good effects. And so he needs money, so he goes to robs at his own bank, right? And when the bad guys they're about to rob the place, one of them actually the guy who plays this character named Freeze, but he calls himself the Doctor. Is played by Reg. Yeah, Cathy. Which he calls himself the Doctor, and he's like, when he's like the doc. When he's about to go to rob the bank, he's like, the Doctor is about to operate. I always like that line because a robber who calls himself the Doctor, he's about to operate. I always like that line. Me and my brother can always one of the things we agree on we're not butting heads. He's like, the Doctor is about to operate. But Reggie E. Cathy, which sadly he's now passed away. I know he's passed away some time ago. Which he's been in some other stuff as well, including the TV show of Luke Cage, the Marvel series Luke Cage, or of course I remember he was in the 2015 Fantastic Four movie that everybody hates. He was the father of Susan and Johnny Storm. Yeah, but I know, but everybody hates that movie. But he was in that movie too. It's like, oh yeah, it's him from The Mask, the Doctor. So, but then Jim Carrey bursts out, because he's already took some money. Cops arrive, and then he arrives at the club in this huge limousine, and the guy's like, "Are you on the list?" No, but I believe my friends are. Perhaps you've heard of them. Franklin, Grant, and Jackson. Then we get Cameron Diaz singing, and of course we get the famous with the memorable music, the song. Let's rock this joint, and then the famous song dun 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 dun, which me and my brother always enjoy. My brother plays this song more than I do, but I still enjoy the song. Dun 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 dun. I'm doing a shitty job, Hey, Pachuco! And this dance with Cameron Diaz, and then Peter Greene finds out that the Reggie Cathy, he's been shot. He tries to give him a cigarette, but he's dead. Another one of the henchmen, he's the guy with the long hair named Eddie. Dennis Forrest. I didn't know that he's another guy who passed away. He passed away in 2002 at the age of 41. So if you remember the one of Dorian Torrell's henchman, he's the guy with the long hair. And he's like, was like, Eddie, who did this, man? Who? He's like, him, and that's the guy. The guy dancing with Tina? He's dead meat. Yeah, so the guy with the blonde, long hair, blonde guy. Yeah, Dennis Forrest. I didn't know he passed away as well. But he passed away back in 2002 at the age of 41. I'm like, jeez. And it said he died from a massive stroke. I'm like, damn. Yeah. Another much younger than when Jeni died. Much younger. 41 with the massive stroke. Jeez. But yeah, that's him with the henchman that has the long blonde hair. And then they tried shooting at him. He does all the weird changes. He first of all, one of those matadors, with the bullfighters, and then one of the Russian does the Russian dance. Then Elvis, thank you very much. And then first big cowboy pretends he gets shot. He's giving a dramatic performance. You see him winning an Oscar performance. So, and also before the first shot, he took a piece of his tie off and it changed back into a piece of his pajamas that he wore earlier. And so Calloway finds that he suspects that Ipkiss, because he's seen him wearing the pajamas. So he's like, Ipkiss, I know you're in there. And Jim Carrey's shocked to find that he has all this money in his closet. And he's like, someone, can I see those pajamas, Mr. Ipkiss? He's like, those pajamas were stolen. Somebody stole your pajamas? So Tina goes to talk to him again, says he wants to meet with the guy. He agrees to go to meet him in the park. He transforms again, tries to be this romance guy towards Tina. The police get to him, and they search his pockets. They pull all this stuff out of his pockets, including a bazooka, a mousetrap, and then it's like, picture of Calloway's wife. What? Uh-oh. Margaret! You son of a bitch! Gee, I figured you had a sense of humor. After all, you married her! Ah! To the bulbs, to the lieutenant and his guy that's with them, Doyle. He's like, that's gotta hurt. And it is at that, And then all he's surrounded of all the police, and he does like what was it? He plays with those what were those things are called? Maracas, you know. What's that dance called when you play with maracas? I forget the name of the dance though. Like, what was it, La Cucaracha or something like that? And you get all the police are all dancing, having a good time. And then Stanley gets saved by this friend who's this reporter who supposed to who he talked to earlier. But then it turns out that she rats him out because she needed the money, you know. He's like, I'm losing my condo. Do you know how tough it is to find an apartment in this city? So she rats him out for the money. And so then Peter Greene puts on the mask, and it's much more of a darker, sinister look to him with the glowing red eyes. And so, and then they go back to his apartment to get the money. His dog Milo follows them. And then back with the police station, Calloway is like, you know what, sure, Stanley Ickus is gonna fall right into my lap. And he looks at that face, like, and then the guys just throw Jim Carrey right at him. So he's put in the prison cell. The next day at morning or whatever, Tina visits him, saying how does the mask work, you know, because Dorian's gonna. He explains that like it brings your innermost desires to life. Like deep down, if you're a little repressed or hopeless romantic, he becomes a sort of love crazy wild man. So, and then when she leaves, his guys follow her, and so they get her, and then Stanley gets his dog Milo to climb up the walls to get the keys from the sleeping guard. First, he picks up it was cheese, not keys, but he gets the keys. Knocks the guy out, and Calloway comes in, handcuffs him. You know, is like, "You're want me out here as a prisoner," you know. And then as they're leaving the station, Doyle comes by and is like, "Hey, where are you taking him?" And Calloway's like, "Ixnay unye unge." Oh, I get it, Pig Latin. Ise uye aderle. And so back at the club. They get into the Dorian wearing the evil looking with the mask, kill Nico and his guys, and so they strap they tie Cameron Diaz, puts a bomb next to her, and so she tricks him to take the mask off so she can kiss him. She kicks it away. Milo grabs it, and then he goes to of course the scene where Milo, the dog, puts on the mask. CG, yeah. I mean, to me, it was tolerable. I mean, it was 1994, so to me, it was pretty tolerable. Looking all vicious looking, and Dennis Forrest, a guy, you know, the long hair guy that died young, you know, it's like good doggy and rah, and then gets that. Although, yeah, you do get the moment where the dog pisses on him. Yes, you do get a scene like that where the dog pisses on him. Yes, you do. It's not the worst joke it's not the worst joke ever, but like I said, I can tolerate it because I'm having fun with the movie. So I give leeway on that though, but you do have the scene where the dog pisses on the guy, yes. Or then where he bites him, the one guy bites in the ass. I always felt that, and the guy screams, "Ah!" I always thought it was funny too. And then Jim Carrey's punching the shit out of Peter Greene. He punches him, back to the slot machine, hits the jackpot. So he takes the mask off, and then he gets shot up, and he puts the mask on, and he's like, "Did you miss me?" And he drinks, and the stuff comes out of him. I guess not. And then he's doing his Clint Eastwood impersonation. Not the first time he's done it, though, because later he does it in Bruce Almighty when he sees himself in the rearview mirror. He does the exact same impression, you know. The same Clint Eastwood impression. Dirty Harry, you know. Dirty Harry impression with the guns. Do you feel lucky? Do you, punks? Then they run away, but then she shoots him. It's all just bang, bang, bang. You know, the bang flags that come out of him. And so he takes the bomb, eats it. With this wearing this mask, it makes you indestructible. You know. He's like, that's spicy meatball. And then he paints a flush handle on the tree. So he basically just pulls it, flushes Peter Greene down the drain. And they're both looking at it. He's circling. They're both doing this. Even the dog too. He's like, "You're a good kid, real good. But as long as I'm around, you always be second best. See?" Then the rest of the bad guys get arrested, and the mayor says that Stanley's not the mask. It was Doran Tyrell because he was there. And then the dog walks out with the mask and is like, you know, leave the dog alone. I want to see you first in my office tomorrow morning. And it's like Calloway's in trouble again. And Doyle's like, you know, like, well, that doesn't sound good. No, it doesn't sound good. What would sound good to you? Breakfast. Shut up! And so his friend Charlie is there, drives Cameron Diaz, you know, it's like, well, Jim Carrey asks her, you know, you sure you want to see more of this guy? This is the last time you're going to see him. She takes the mask, throws it in the water, and then finally they kiss, and then Charlie, he jumps in after it, and then with the music from before, during the whole dancing playing, Milo has the mask. He's like, Milo! And then it's when Jim Carrey says it, you know, without the mask, you know, he goes, smoking! So yeah. The Mask, like I said, I would say it's another classic, you know. It is a classic, and especially one of the films that came out in 1984 that launched Jim Carrey's career, you know. And of course, we have to go down this road, you know. That, you know, since the film was a huge hit, you know, made over 300 million worldwide. It was a huge hit. So then there's been years of development for a sequel, right? You know, Jim Carrey, they asked Jim Carrey, was he going to do a sequel, you know? Have the same team come back. And then eventually we got Son of the Mask. With Jamie Kennedy, Alan Cumming, and sadly Bob Hoskins. You know, it was sad that Bob Hoskins had to be in that, you know, as Odin. Because consider that this mask was made by the mythical of the god of mischief of Loki, you know, or Odin. And so they had to play out that mythology. So that this version of Loki and Odin, hated by everybody, rightfully so. It is hated by everybody. It deserves to be hated on. Has like a 2 point something. If I remember, it was like a 2 point something on IMDb or a 3 point something on IMDb. I don't remember, but I knew it was so low. Yes, it deserves it. I think it's like a 2% or 1% on IMDb or on Rotten Tomatoes. It deserves it no matter what. It is considered one of the worst comedies of all time. Easily. Hated by everybody. You know, it's sad that coming off, you know, since the first one was a big hit, how this film fell so much, you know. The difference is night and day. But part of me just won't even go near that movie though. Part of me doesn't want to go near that movie though, but the part of me is, you know, hey, if I do, it would be a huge mega rant, you know, a mega rant. Poorly done special effects, bad makeup effects, especially for Jamie Kennedy, laughable. Unfunny humor, bad CGI. It just shows how far that film has fallen compared to the first movie, you know? What made the first movie so fun. Jim Carrey was really fun. He was great. I mean, Cameron Diaz's first role, like I said, looking smoking, you know? And I like the other characters. The villain by Peter Greene, and Lieutenant Calloway, played by Peter Riegert, if I mispronounce the name. The special effects at the time was pretty good. What time, you know, like the scene where, you know, when he's at when he's like this, you know, he's at the club, you know, he's watching Cameron Diaz singing, you know. How is, like, you know, his heart is pounding out his chest, you know. It makes like that wolf character from that cartoon he was watching earlier, you know, or the mouth dropping open. I thought for the effects of the time, really, when it did like stuff like those, was pretty good, you know. Yeah, maybe some people consider it doesn't hold up today though, because it's 94 though. But still, I give, if I love the movie a lot though, I give leniency and leeway on that. And listen, the score by where is Randy Edelman? Yep, Edelman. I enjoyed the score. You know, that especially the oh. I like that part of the score. And Chuck Russell I think he did a really good job, you know. Because this film was a big hit, you know. And of course, later, the next film he'd do would be Eraser, which would also be a big hit as well. And like I said, I enjoy Chuck Russell, you know. I love the Blob remake. I enjoy Elm Street 3, The Dream Warriors. Like I said, this film, Eraser. As I said, Scorpion King was not bad though, but it was one of his weaker ones. I have to rewatch Bless the Child again. I just have to rewatch that film again. But yeah, overall, you know, I still love The Mask, you know. It is 30 years later, it is still a classic. One of many consider Jim Carrey's best films, you know. Which I can definitely understand why I could see it. And it's easily fast-paced. It's on for 97 minutes, minus end credits. Easily fast-paced. Not boring at all. I just really enjoyed the film. It's one thing another thing me and my brother we don't butt heads on, you know. It's this film. You know, the song my brother enjoys, you know. Hey, Pachuco! So, but yeah, just really still a very solid movie. Still fun, enjoyable. One of the films, like I said, that launched Jim Carrey's career. But I still love The Mask regardless, though. Fuck Son of the Mask. Fuck that movie still. I don't know why that film got made, though. Well, of course it was supposed to capitalize this is the first one was a big hit, though, but it just went everything in the wrong direction. Everything was in the wrong direction. And it became such a sucky, butt-hurting, shitty movie. Yeah, butt-hurting, because watch it. If I watch it again, it would still make my butt hurt. My ass hurt. That's how horrendous that movie is. It deserves to be hated by everybody. Yes, I fully understand that. You know, just so. But that's going to be a film for another day, though. But as of right now, the first one of The Mask. Huge hit, you know. 30 years later, it's still a very fun, entertaining movie. And me and my brother still love to this day. Like I said, I enjoy it from director Chuck Russell. Cameron Diaz is her debut, you know. Jim Carrey was great. That's at the time when Jim Carrey was on top of the world, you know. And it was sad about the two guys I mentioned, you know, Jeni, who plays Jim Carrey's friend, Charlie, died young, you know. Or one of the henchmen, you know, Eddie, like I said, the guy with the long hair, He passed away much younger. You know, sad to say. That sucked. But yeah, I still 30 years later, it's still a very memorable film that me and my brother still grew up watching together. So yeah. Let me lower it again. So that's my review of The Mask. 30th anniversary of The Mask. And it's still, like I said, very fun movie. 30 years later, it still is. I still give it a thumbs up. So thanks for watching. Stay tuned for more, and we'll see you next time. And listen, if you haven't seen The Mask, please check it out. It'll find it very funny, and you'll still has also a charm to it. It's still charming as well. So yeah, but thanks for watching. Stay tuned for the next one, and we'll see you later.